Come here, let's talk. So in May of this year, May 7th to be exact, I posted a video about the 1918 flu pandemic and a little study I did on what happened to the population growth to try and sort of extrapolate what probably happened with the housing market at the same time. And I'll show you what I found, just a review. And I pulled it up here on YouTube. You can check out the whole video. I'll probably post it at the end of this video for a little later. But here you go. So we have the Manhattan from 1910 to 1920 saw a negative 2% decrease in population. And that's a year and a half after the 1918 flu pandemic. While Brooklyn grew at 19% in that same period of time. And I don't remember the Queens number, which is obscured by that, but it's in there as well. And it was also up. Okay. So interestingly enough, oh, let me get out of there. Interestingly enough, I saw this article a week or two ago now, and it is about, the headline here is Brooklyn home sales boom as Manhattan market struggles. Not to say that history repeats itself, but it looks like history may have repeated itself a little bit. So they talk about the number of pending home sales in Brooklyn increased almost 40% in August compared to the year prior. That means in 2020, this past August, there was 40% more new contracts than in 2019. Now, 2019, it's important to remember, was the low point in the market. After several years of a sort of weak market, things seemed to turn around in the second quarter and third and fourth quarter of 2019, and we were poised for a big year in 2020. Coronavirus hit and all that changed. But we're up 40%, they're saying. Well, they come down here, they get more specific and say 38.7% increase in the same month last year for places that entered contract, 735 homes. Okay, so now let's look at the Brooklyn monthly snapshot here from Corcoran. This is for August as well. Now, interestingly, okay, prices are down. The average and the median prices are down a bit. The percentage change over August of 2019 are -6 and -14 on the median and the average sale price. And so you can figure somewhere between those two numbers is where the Brooklyn market is. But this is the really interesting part, okay? This is starting in January of 2020 and going to August of 2020. You see January and February increasing significantly in terms of the number of signed contracts. Like I say, if that curve continued up, it was gonna be a very big spring. COVID hit in March and you were down 22%. April down 65%. May down 77% in new contracts. That's because we were in the middle of a shutdown. The market was not functioning. You couldn't even get into contract if you wanted to get into contract. Well, you might have been able to get into contract because any seller would probably have been happy to get into contract at that point. June, it lessened. July, 24%, which is still big numbers, but look at this August number. Hopefully this is not getting in the way. August 2020, up 15% is the numbers that we have, right? So Brooklyn newly listed apartment inventory grew by 52%, but the signed contracts were up at least 15%. The Post has different numbers that say 40%. So people who are, there have been all these naysayers and doom speakers about, the housing market and New York City is dead. Thank you, James Altucher, for being a one of these, hyper, I don't know, just a lot of hyperbole from this guy. But so look at the curve, the trend in the curve, okay? Now, is that gonna continue through the year? We've got an election coming up, whatever. So that's gonna add some uncertainty. I wanna also bring you over to the Manhattan monthly snapshot. The average and median sale prices for the condominium market in Manhattan show a 16% upward move and a 3% upward move, which is kind of crazy. The prices were not down statistically for condos in Manhattan in August. Same with the, with the cooperative market, it's widespread. So 1% increase on the average sale price and -18% on the median sale price. I have got to figure that maybe there is a small number of sales to be working with to have that kind of wide of a spread with co-ops. But what I did want to show you here with Manhattan as well is this, I feel like this curve that you can see, right? Sort of where it drops again in, I want to make sure I'm out of there. Where it drops, April is down 80% in terms of the signed contracts, May 81%, then 69, 35 in July, and now negative 13. So we're still down. The activity in Manhattan is still down compared to 2019. But when you look at the trajectory of that curve, we are going to be positive very soon. Anything can happen, anything can change. These are just stats, and there's differentiating stats. But I keep saying this. I don't know. I literally don't know one person who has moved out of the market that owns their place in Manhattan and sold it because of COVID and has moved elsewhere. I know people have bought second homes elsewhere. I know people who are not in Manhattan who still own places. And I know a lot of renters who have moved out of the city. This is not to downplay any of the legitimate issues that we do have with the city. Commercial real estate space is going to get crushed over the next few years. One of the big firms was forecasting 2025 as to when the commercial real estate market in Manhattan will be back to normal. I think that the residential market is going to be back very soon, much sooner than 2025. I would hazard guess to say that it's actually going to be a busy spring in 2021, because I think by that time, by the second quarter of next year, we'll probably have an announcement of a vaccine, and we will have in place the new administration, and things will be proceeding sort of hopefully much more with a lot more stability and predictability than we had this year. It's been a crazy year, and that's reflected in those stats. But I tell you, if you're a buyer, between now and I'd say the next 6 months is probably going to be your sweet spot to be a buyer. And then after that, I'd say all bets are off. I think that there's going to be an increasing interest in the market, in the residential real estate market on the buy side. And it's a great time to be a renter for whatever it's worth. Rentals are definitely hurting more than sales are in New York City right now. So I hope this is interesting to you. I love questions and comments. I welcome them. Please put them in or send them to me, and I'm happy to answer or go more into depth with any of this stuff. I hope everybody is staying out there, staying safe and appropriately distanced and enjoying the beautiful weather that we've been seeing recently. Okay, so talk to you later.